Hare Krishna. Can you hear my voice? Am I audible?
Mm.
Okay, let's start. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So thank you all very much for joining today's session. We have been discussing from the first chapter of the fifth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. The chapter is titled as The Activities of King Priyavrata. So I'll do a quick recap of what we have seen till now. Towards the end of the fourth canto, Shukadeva Goswami had told Parikshit Maharaj about the lineage in describing the lineage of Swayambhuva Manu. While mentioning about Priyavrat Maharaj, he said that this Priyavrat Maharaj was a self-realized Mahabhagavat devotee, but eventually he got married and he enjoyed household life, and then he attained perfection and went back home, back to Godhead. So at this point of time, Parikshit Maharaj gets this question: how is it possible for a Mahabhagavat devotee to first thing get attracted to household life? Because that is not a good symptom. Because how can someone who is attracted to the lotus feet of Krishna be attracted to household life? This is the first question. The second question he gets is, you said that he got attracted to household life, he was attached to enjoying with his family members and all that. Then how could such a person, how could his mind or heart be attached to Krishna again? How is it possible? So therefore, and how did he attain perfection? So these are very difficult to understand. So can you please explain? So at this point of time, Shukadeva Goswami starts answering these questions. Of course, in these things we had some discussions, on various themes, but we have discussed them many times. So I'll not go into the detail. I'll just stick to the storyline, and then we will resume today's session. So Shukadeva Goswami said, like what you say is correct. Actually, those whose minds are absorbed in tasting the sweet nectar of Krishna's lotus feet, they generally do not give up hearing and discussing Krishna Katha. Even though there may be some obstacle, and that obstacle sometimes we saw that there are in this we discussed that there are two types of obstacles due to one's offenses and obstacles induced by Krishna himself. And what are the two types of obstacles due to offenses? I mean, rectification of obstacles due to offenses sometimes, it just takes a long time. It does not get rectified easily. And sometimes by some extraordinary mercy by the Vaishnava or Krishna, there will be rectification of offenses. And obstacles created by Krishna is sometimes for Loka Sangra purpose through that great devotee to teach the common people some basic important principles of sadhana bhakti, and also sometimes to intensify the prema. Krishna may do that. So this is the example of this is Bharat Maharaj, and the example of the first type of offenses due to offenses is actually Dvivida. And in the case of Priyavrat Maharaj, it is clearly seen that he did not have any offenses. Therefore, it arose from the desire of the Lord. So, through Priyavrat Maharaj, the Lord wanted to show the importance of following the instructions of the superior. So, in this context, also we discussed what kind of a superior, under what circumstances we should follow without any this thing, and if the superior gives an instruction which is very clearly an obstacle to our bhakti, under what circumstances we can seek clarification, under what circumstances we should not seek, even we should not even, of course, seeking clarification is always allowed, but the mentality should be to clearly follow under what circumstances. Sometimes, you know, genuine doubts are good, whether the person is giving the right instruction itself or not. So we saw that. if the devotee is not, if the senior devotee is senior by age but not extraordinarily advanced, then one can even get the doubt that is this the right instruction? By following it, will my spiritual life be proper or not? That kind of a doubt one can get. It is reasonable. Under such circumstances, one can seek clarification. But when a very exalted senior devotee gives an instruction which is seemingly an obstacle to our devotional service, then one can, under such circumstances, also seek clarification. But the mood should be, how do I understand how this is beneficial for me? But in the first case, when the senior devotee may not be that advanced, um, then the question can be, is it really beneficial for me? Okay. I mean, and the question is the same. Uh, in either case, in the when the senior devotee is not so advanced, then we still give them the benefit of doubt. Maybe they know and I don't know, but can you please explain how it is beneficial for me? Uh, but in the case of a more exalted devotee, then the question is, I am definitely going to follow it. I am definitely going to follow it. But can you please explain me so that I understand how even engaging in these kind of an activity can be beneficial? Okay. So I just recently was searching about some details about Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Okay. And I wish to share. I got an article about Bhaktivinoda Thakur. I mean, this was a very interesting article. This article, I will read it for you. I mean, this is very uh, relevant for two purposes. So I will tell you what are the two purposes for which it is relevant. First is, it is relevant because we always ask, when did we always say that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur he accepted Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj as his Siksha Guru. Then when did they really meet? This question arises. This is one question. And the next question that we get is, about um, what if my guru gives me lot of mundane looking services while I wish to engage more in hearing and chanting. Okay. Uh, so this is a classic example what we are going to give for when an exalted guru gives an instruction which may seemingly be not so good for our Krishna consciousness according to our own understanding of what is Krishna consciousness. Okay. Under those circumstances, what one should do and what one should not do. Okay. That example, I just recently was reading this and it was very interesting. Okay. So this is can you see the screen? Is the screen visible? The letters are legible. Okay. So, yeah, is the screen visible or not? Is my voice also not audible? Okay. Yes. Thank you. So, here he says, should one constantly chant or just do service? This is the overview of this article. This eternal question on the lips of every sadhaka is answered by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada in this instructive pastime concerning some errant disciples of Jagannath Das Babaji and Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. This article is extracted from Harikatha of Saraswati Thakur, originally spoken at Sri Chaitanya Mat on the evening of December 21st, 1927. Okay. So, he says, Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj held the position of Guru of all the renunciates in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. He excelled everyone in age and bhajan. Therefore, all renounced members of the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya followed him. In Brajavandal, All those in the renounced community who had taken shelter of Mahaprabhu followed his instructions. When Sriman Mahaprabhu was established in Sri Mayapur, many Vrajavasis who were very advanced Vaishnavas, following the order of Sri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, came to Gauda Mandal for darshan of Sri Mayapur Chandra. When Sriman Mahaprabhu means his deities were established, not Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, in his physically present form. At the time of Paramahamsa Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, at that time, Paramahamsa Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj left Brajamandal to come and reside in Gauda Mandal. Having arrived in Navadvip Dham, Paramahamsa Babaji Maharaj never left it throughout his manifest presence. His determination to reside in the Dham was unparalleled. Shri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj used to visit Bhakti Bhavan. Bhakti Bhavan is where Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur resided. In Calcutta, to be close to Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So, Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj used to come till Calcutta to meet Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Can you imagine? His own servant, Shri Bihari Das Vrajavasi, would bring him on his shoulders. We had darshan of Shri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj many times at his bhajan kutir in Kulia. So many times he used to visit Bhaktivinoda Thakur. I mean, from Mayapur to Calcutta, and they might have most likely walked only, or maybe I don't know. No one could ever get away with any injustice in the presence of Sri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. He used to administer appropriate punishment to everyone. Okay, now here the story starts. Three persons who considered themselves to be his disciples and externally looked like Babajis had secretly engaged in dishonest work. Two other persons who also looked like Babajis used to stay with Sri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj at his bhajan kutir. They simply complained that Babaji Maharaj did not allow them to engage in constant Hari Bhajan. He keeps us busy all day long, watering the gods and pumpkin plants, fencing the land and doing this and that. So, Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj apparently engaged them in a lot of physical services. Okay. We came here to engage in Hari Bhajan, leaving worldly affairs behind. Yet, even after coming here, we continue with the same worldly activities as before. If one has to engage in the same household duties as before, even when one is close, even when one is close proximity to Babaji Mahashay, then it's better to return home and enjoy worldly pleasures. If I have to water my vegetable plants, I can do it as a grahastha only. Why did I leave the grahastha ashram? Come and stay here next to Babaji Maharaj and then just be watering my watering the pumpkin plant and this plant and that plant. Okay, what is the purpose? Okay. So they were complaining against Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj also. If one has to engage in the same household duties as before, even when one is close proximity to Babaji Mahashay, then it's better to return home and enjoy worldly pleasures. What's the benefit of working in the fields as unpaid labor? Okay, like that. One day, Bhaktivinoda Thakur came to have darshan of Sri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj at his bhajan kutir in Navadvip. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur came to Navadvip this particular time. Upon seeing Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Babaji Maharaj expressed great joy and he said, "Oh, it's very good that you have come today, Your Honor." So he was in a very funny mood. He was addressing Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur as a magistrate because he was a magistrate. "Your Honor, you should judge these criminals and arrange appropriate punishment for them." So he told about his errant disciples. He called them criminals. So you should arrange for a particular appropriate punishment for them. See these three atheists in the robes of renunciates who are tarnishing the purity of that cloth. Can they be punished? You please tell me. Two of them always bring up my name and complain to whoever comes here. They say that I don't let them chant Harinam. Okay, I don't let them chant Harinam. He just keeps us engaged in all these kinds of things. He doesn't engage us in Harinam. They claim to have come here only to chant Harinam near to Babaji Maharaj. They didn't come here to water gourds and pumpkin plants or to fix fences around the trees. By leaving aside their beads and watering, they will benefit. You please consider their complaints. So Babaji Maharaj has said, I feel that they should be watering the plants and that is what is for their benefit. But they say, no, 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 this is not beneficial. We have come here to do Hari Bhajan and you are not allowing us to do Hari Bhajan. So Babaji Maharaj is asking, oh Bhaktivinoda Thakur, you are a magistrate. You please judge them like that. Pass your judgment. Shri Bhaktivinoda Thakur said to one of the three individuals, you should tour the four dhams. Then your tendency for enjoyment will go away. So he told one. Actually, he accused him. He said, you have a tendency to enjoy. That is why you want to chant constantly and you don't want to do. So as a punishment, you should tour the four dhams. In those days, touring the four dhams means by foot. And it's going to take years to complete it. Okay. Another individual, he told, go to Sri Kshetra and spend time near Sri Jagannath Dev, constantly shedding tears while submitting words of your misfortune. So he said, go to Jagannath Puri and cry and repent for the mistake of offending your guru. Okay. Always remember Mahaprabhu's Dandalila, the pastime of punishment in regards to Chota Haridas, and follow the practice of Srila Haridas Thakur, spending your days constantly taking shelter of the holy name. So don't do it here. Go repent and how you should not, you don't deserve the association of Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. Repent and just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not allow Chota Haridas to come and get his darshan, in the same way you should also not get darshan of Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. You don't deserve like that. Not wanting to accept any punishment, the third person built himself an akhada, an ashram in Kulia, at a place on the banks of the Ganga, dressed as a Vaishnava, and secretly indulged in illicit activities with another man's wife. This atheist used to collect money to buy coconut oil for that woman and would blaspheme Sri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. After this incident, one day Bhaktivinoda Thakur was going to the Bhajan Kutir of Sri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. On the way, that atheist saw Bhaktivinoda Thakur and said, you should not go to Sri Jagannath Das Babaji anymore. He has no actual Hari Bhakti. He does not know anything about Hari Bhajan. Come to me instead and we will relish Leela Katha together. Like that, this atheist was, he had almost become an atheist only. Was telling Jagannath Das Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He was asking Bhaktivinoda Thakur not to go and take the association of Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. Completely ignoring that Guru Drohi, who was an offender and a hypocritical materialistic atheist, Bhaktivinoda Thakur eventually brought all these matters to Sri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. Babaji Maharaj said in a very grave voice, if you see the face of that atheist, you should bathe in the Ganga. He is not my disciple. He is an atheist, an offender, a monkey renunciant. He has already gone to hell and there is no escape for him. Previously, on the order of Babaji Maharaj, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur had also made arrangements for those two deceitful chanters of Harinam. He called them and said, if you desire auspiciousness, so Bhaktivinoda Thakur called these two disciples who were constantly complaining, Arey, we came here to do Harinam constantly, but this Babaji Maharaj is not allowing us to touch our bead bags only. He's telling water this plant, water that plant, mend the fence and all those things. Did we come here to do that? So he called them and he said, if you desire auspiciousness, then leave aside your chanting beads, which have become the deity of laziness due to the influence of your propensity for karma. So he said that that chanting beads are your deity of laziness. You are taking shelter of the chanting beads, not wanting to, in order to escape services. This is your attraction to karma. You must water the gourds, pumpkin plants, and tie the fences. You have to work for the service of Hari. There is no other path to your good fortune except by watering these gourds, pumpkins, and trees. If you deviate from this path, the name will never come from your mouth. You will not be able to chant the holy name if you cross this path. You will not find the path to auspiciousness at any time. Watering squash and pumpkin plants and tying fences in the service of Lord Hari is never equal to the pleasures that accompany worldly life or various household chores. Externally, both may look the same, but one takes a man to hell and the other transforms the jiva into a traveler to Vaikuntha. Even after going to Goloka Vaikuntha, one will water the plants in Krishna's garden. Laziness cannot be called Hari Bhajan. Service to Hari and Hari's devotee is called Hari Bhajan. Those who, after chanting Harinam, become addicted to laziness, become either sense enjoyers or impersonalists. They are never the performers of Hari Bhajan or servants of Hari. After hearing all these instructions from the lips of Shri Bhaktivinoda Thakur, they said, if we mend the fences, water the gourds and pumpkin plants, and are busy all day with these activities, when will we have time to do Harinam? This is the question, valid question. Bhaktivinoda Thakur replied, you don't require beads in your consideration of your activities. You should try to serve with your hands and you should always chant the name with your mouth. Then certainly the name will always appear on your lips. At some point, you will indeed develop a taste for the name while engaged in Krishna Seva by serving the gods and pumpkin plants. Now you have an inclination towards laziness. So he says, what you say as we want to chant Harinam, you don't have taste for Harinam, you have taste for laziness. Okay. If you do not serve as per your actual capability and qualification, and you do not serve accordingly, you will never engage in Hari Bhajan at any time. The path of auspiciousness will be closed once and for all. Therefore, from today, you should always serve with your hands and chant Harinam with your mouth. If you neglect Babaji Maharaj's instruction and follow your own desires, then difficulties will be inevitable for you. From today onwards, be careful. Okay. So this is the story. Okay. This is the story. So the point is, what is the understanding? The understanding is that when an exalted guru says, then the question should be, Gurudev, whatever you say must be 100% correct. But can you please explain me, how should I see this? How should I see this service as acting in a way to enhance my attraction to the holy name? You know, with that mentality that my guru, my exalted guru can never be wrong. So what he is telling should be correct. So I should understand, I should only try to understand how it is correct. Okay. But when the authority is not uh, that exalted, okay, if he is not that exalted, and if you um, uh, by your own intelligence thinks that this is not favorable for my Krishna consciousness, then better to get it clarified from that personality himself. If you have trust in his spiritual stature, if you don't have trust in his spiritual stature, then seek guidance from another devotee in whom you have that trust. Okay. So, because as we saw the other day, the uh, you know, you should not misapply, you should not misapply certain principles. We saw the three principles: Tejiya, Samna, Doshaya, Drishtair, Swabhava, Janitair, and Vaishnavera, Kriya, Mudra, Vigyahana, Bhujai. So these principles should be appropriately applied to the senior Vaishnavas. Okay. So therefore, if something is being asked uh, of a senior devotee who may not be spiritually very advanced, then it is always good to seek clarification. How is it going to help me in my Hari Bhajan? And we can ask this from a Vaishnava, in whose spiritual stature we may have some trust. That is important. Okay, that is the point. Anyways, so when Priyavrat Maharaj was serving under the instructions of Narada, he was completely absorbed. At that time when Swayambhuva Manu came and told that, okay, you should rule, he was not willing to accept. He thought that this is unfavorable for me. Okay. And at that point of time, Brahmaji arrived, and Brahmaji instructed Parikshit, Priyavrat Maharaj about, mm, that, this is actually the desire of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and who is beyond your estimation. You think that he will allow you to do unhindered bhajan and then only give you perfection. No, not necessarily. Sometimes he may put obstacles to your unhindered bhajan and still elevate you and make you perfect. Okay. Along these lines, he gives various instructions. You cannot avoid the order of the Lord by your power of austerity, knowledge, etc. You cannot avoid it. You have to follow it. And of course, in this context, we discussed that Brahmaji is not trying to make Priyavrat Maharaj feel guilty for not following the Supreme Lord's order by 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 telling that, oh, this is the Lord's order, this is the Lord's order. Uh, just that Brahmaji already had the trust of Priyavrat Maharaj, and therefore he is telling this to him by making him understand. And also we discussed that, in such cases, it's not that Priyavrat Maharaj needs to be told that the Lord's order should definitely be followed. It's not that he does not know he is a perfected devotee. But under the influence of the Lord's Yoga Maya, such perfected devotees oftentimes mimic the, um, they mimic the actions and mentality of ordinary people, so that through them, the ordinary people can be given some instructions. Okay, like that. And then uh, Brahmaji also says that, we are like blind men. The Supreme Lord is like the one with eyes. Just like a blind man, if he trusts the person with eyes, then he will just follow whatever he says. So similarly, you should accept the instructions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay. Like that, in the along these lines, he discuss the attached person must have fear of samsara even in the forest. This is another point he says. That you think you by going to forest you can attain perfection. If internal attraction is there, even by going to forest, uh, the mm, even by going to forest, that then you will not be able to be successful because your six enemies will attack you. But if you have completely controlled senses and if you are an Atma Rama, then what danger is there if you remain in household life? Okay. What danger is there if you remain in household life? Okay. Like that. So he says, uh, he who desiring to conquer the senses first enters the household life and attempts to control them, having taken shelter of the fourth, conquers the strong enemies and can move about as he desires with weakened senses. So he says, rather, a person who has material desires, he should ideally enter household life. And by taking shelter of the fort of the household life, he should conquer the six enemies in the form of the six senses. And then he can progress further. In this context, also we discussed that how in the gradual path, the Grahastha ashram is a critical, almost non-negotiable stage. Okay, which is which is where the actual purification happens. So here Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti says that there are three types of people in this world: those with sense control, those without sense control, those with sense control, and those who desire to control their senses. Three categories. Okay. Uh, those without sense control and those with sense control, those without sense control and those who do not desire to control their senses also, for them there is no fault in entering uh, household life. And those with sense control also, there is no fault if they enter the household life because they will not be affected by it. Uh, and those with desire to conquer the senses, they definitely have to enter the household life. Okay. So, but Brahmaji says that, but you have taken shelter of the fort of the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. You have taken shelter of the fort of the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. So you don't fall within the three categories. You don't fall within those three categories. Okay. And you have transformed because for you, the senses are no longer enemies. You have befriended your senses. Therefore, you should enjoy the objects which are given by the Lord. And later, uh, you can easily give that up and you can worship the Lord. So you will not be attached. The Lord's protection is always there whenever the thing is coming from the uh, whenever you know either facilities or money or wealth, anything comes from the arrangement of the Supreme Lord, you don't have to worry about it. You will not be bound by it. You don't have to become so paranoid. Okay. So that's what he says. Okay. He says, but you are not amongst these three types of persons. Okay. Your shelter is the lotus feet of the Lord. Huh? You are not like others who have controlled their senses because you have given up enmity with the senses, which you have conquered. Okay. Your six senses are the best friends since they are attached to the beauty of the Lord. So enjoy the objects given especially by your master. Enjoyment arising from karma is the cause of bondage, but not enjoyment given by the Lord. Later you hand over your kingdom to your son when he grows old enough, and then you move on. No problem. So there is no, uh, you don't have to worry about it. Okay, you don't have to worry about it. Hmm. Okay, so this is where we ended our discussion on Friday. I apologize for canceling the session yesterday. I had some essential commitments. So we will continue today's discussion. We'll go on till about 8:15, 8:20, and then we'll open up for some discussion. Okay. So Shukadeva Goswami continues this storyline. So Shukadeva Goswami says, Shri Shuka Uvacha, Iti Samabhihito Mahabhagavato Bhagavatas Tribhuvana Guror Anushasanam Atmano Lagutaya Avanata Shirodaro Badam Iti Sa Bahumanam Uvaha. So Shukadeva Goswami said, Iti Samabhihitaha, thus being instructed, Avanata Shirodaro, Priyavrat Maharaj lowering his head, Atmano Lagutaya, while thinking himself inferior, Badam iti, he consented, saying, yes, sir. Subahumanam, and with great respect, Uvaha, he carried out Anushasanam, the order, Mahabhagavato Bhagavataha, of the great devotee Brahma, Tribhuvana Guroho, who was the guru of the three worlds. Okay. So when he heard this from Brahmaji, Priyavrat Maharaj thought, oh yeah, I am inferior. Brahmaji is superior. He knows better than me. So what he says must be correct. So he consented and agreed. Hmm. So Priyavrat considered himself inferior since he was the grandson of Brahma. Bhagavan api manuna yatavad upakalpita apachitihi Priyavrata naradayor avishamam abhisamikshamaanayoho atmasam avastanam avanmanasam kshayam avyavahritam pravartayan agamat. Bhagavan, Brahmaji, agamat, he departed. Manuna yatavad upakalpita apachitihi. After being suitably worshipped by Manu, pravartayan atmasam avasthanam, while remembering the Supreme Lord. So Brahma departed after being suitably worshipped by Manu, while remembering the Supreme Lord. Avag manasam kshayam, who is not the object of the material words and minds. Okay. Avyavahritam, and who is beyond material dealings. Priyavrata Naradayoho Abhisamikshamanayoho. While Priyavrata and Narada looked on, Avishamam, without being disturbed. So, what are the important points mentioned here? Okay, Brahmaji departed. Okay, while remembering the Supreme Lord. So, Brahmaji departed. So, Brahmaji is not here to kind of somehow cheat Priyavrat Maharaj so that his job could be accomplished. So, Brahmaji being a very perfect devotee is indicated here by mentioning that he was remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay. And then it is mentioned that Priyavrat Maharaj and Narada Muni were watching while Brahmaji left. And here there is a very important word that is mentioned. Avishamam. Avishamam means where they were not actually disturbed. The verdict which was passed by Brahma was fully acceptable to Narada Muni and Priyavrat Maharaj. Both of them were not disturbed by the verdict. Avishamam. That is the point that is being mentioned here. Okay. So, uh, so Manu worshipped Brahma suitably according to time and place. It is possible that Narada would have been a little disturbed since the desire of his disciple was destroyed, and Priyavrat would be disturbed since his vow was broken. But that was not so. They did not see this as improper. Avishamam. There was no disturbance. Okay. There was no disturbance. Brahma departed while remembering in his heart the form of Paramatma, who cannot be approached by material words or mind, and who is the supreme abode, since he is the shelter of all the other abodes. Or an alternate version, Avag Manasah Kshayam. The Paramatma is the abode of the mind, which is beyond the words of the Vedas, dealing with the three gunas and the rules and regulations. Like that. The Lord is also beyond normal dealings. Avyavahritam. Or the sentence can also mean engaging Priyavrata, who was not previously engaged in ruling, who was devoid of the material words and mind, since he was Atma Rama. Brahma then went to Satyaloka, his own place. Okay. So, Pravartayan means engaging. Engaging Priyavrat Maharaj, Avag Manasam, who was devoid of material words and minds. That is another meaning of Avag Manasam. So Avag Manasam can represent the Supreme Lord, or if you take another meaning, then Avag Manasam can represent Priyavrat Maharaj himself. Okay. So he didn't want to rule because Priyavrat Maharaj was Avag Manasam. His words and mind were not material, they were transcendental. Okay. So then Brahmaji then went to Satyaloka, his own place. Manur api parenaivam pratisandita manoratah surarshi vara anumatena atmajam akiladara mandala sthiti guptaya astapya swayamiti vishama vishaya visha jalashayashaya upararama. Evam pratisandita manoratah parena. Evam parena pratisandita manoratah. His desire now accomplished by Brahmaji. Manuhu Sudarishivara Anumatena. Manu, with the permission of Narada, Atmajam Astapya, he established his son. Akila Dharamandala Sthiti Guptaye. He established his son Priyavrat Maharaj for maintaining proper rules of conduct on the whole earth, Swayam Upararama, he himself became detached. Ashaya, from the desire to enjoy. Ati Vishama Vishaya Vishajala Ashaya. From the desire to enjoy the poisonous ocean of disturbing material affairs. So now one may think this is very unfair. This is very unfair. Because Brahmaji himself told right now, Priyavrat Maharaj, for a self-realized person like you have befriended your friends. So by entering into the household order, there is nothing wrong. This is not going to bind you. Krishna himself is giving you. Now, if this applies to Priyavrat Maharaj, doesn't it apply to his equally advanced father, Swayambhu Manu? Doesn't it apply to Swayambhu Manu? Uh, So now, for Priyavrat Maharaj, oh, don't worry, it will not bind you. You should follow the orders of the superior and all that. Now, after hearing all this, Swayambhu Manu was happy. Okay. He he became detached from the desire to enjoy because he saw the material world and the material position and everything, householder life, etc., as poisonous ocean of disturbing material affairs. So for him, it is poisonous ocean of disturbing material affairs. But then for Priyavrat Maharaj, he is telling, hey, don't worry, you are a very advanced person. For a detached person, household life will not affect you. So don't worry, you have taken shelter of the fort of the lotus feet of Krishna. You don't have to worry, and you have befriended your six enemies. They are no longer your enemies, they are your friends. You don't have a problem. So now, what applied to Priyavrat Maharaj, does the same thing not apply to Manu also? Is he not a Mahabhagavat? Swayambhu, Narada, Shambhu, of course. Um, Swayambhu Manu is also a Mahabhagavat. So now, wouldn't it have been easier if the same principle applies to him? Why did he have to go and disturb Priyavrat Maharaj? He could have himself become the king. But as we discussed before, there are social considerations also. There are principles of Loka Sangraha Karma, which is very important. Social etiquettes. Social etiquettes. According to social etiquettes, even though these principles of Varnashrama are not, devotees are not, it's not necessary for them to follow. Okay. For their own spiritual progress, it is not necessary. But sometimes, for Loka Sangraha purpose, you have to follow. In the case of Swayambhu Manu, he had already taken up to Vanaprastha. So for him to again take up to Grihastha life would be like socially unacceptable thing. It will create a lot of social disturbances. Okay. It will just break down the whole fabric of Varnashrama from the whole kingdom. Swayambhu Manu did not desire it. But in the case of Priyavrat Maharaj, we saw Priyavrat Maharaj was a brahmachari. After brahmacharya, the natural next ashram is grahastha. So there was no social obstacles from Priyavrat Maharaj becoming the king, but there were social obstacles from Swayambhu Manu becoming a king, or even Uttanapada, or anyone else of that within the category, because they had that change was a socially unacceptable change, and it would create serious disturbances in the society. Okay. So accomplishing his desires through Brahma, Manu established his son for maintaining proper conduct on earth. He became disinterested in the desire to enjoy the ocean of poison in the form of disturbing sense objects. Of course, he never had these desires, but he felt like that. Oh, now I can give up my desire to enjoy in this world. Out of his natural Vaishnava humility, he is thinking like that. But in reality, he did not have any attachment. to enjoy in this material world. Then, itiha vavasa jagatipatir Ishvara ichchaya adiniveshita karma adhikaro akila jagat bandha dvamsana paranubhavasya bhagavata adipurushasya angri yugala anavarata dhyana anubhavena parirandita kashaya ashayo avadato api manavardano mahatam mahitalam anushashasa. We're talking about the rule of Priyavrat Maharaj. It is mentioned. Iti, thus, Saha Jagatipatihi, Priyavrat, the master of the earth, Adiniveshita Karma Adhikaraha, preoccupied with the performance of karma. Uh, Thus, Priyavrat Maharaj, the master of the earth, preoccupied with performance of karma. Ishvara Ichchaya. By the desire of the Lord, he became preoccupied with performance of karma. So that performance of karma for the Loka Sangraha purpose is bhakti. Because it was done out of Ishvara Ichcha. The Lord wanted to execute this act of Loka Sangraha through a perfected devotee. So that act of Loka Sangraha due to Ishvara Ichcha is also bhakti. Okay. But that Loka Sangraha karma should be conducted with the proper mentality. Only then it is bhakti. So when is executing, let's say in this case, a Varnashrama duty, when is it bhakti? It is bhakti for a Vaishnava when the Vaishnava understands that I am doing it because Krishna instituted the Varnashrama system. Krishna instituted the system of bhakti also. I am qualified for bhakti, but not everyone is qualified for bhakti. Okay. So therefore, if in the name of practicing bhakti, if I do not execute the elements of Varnashrama, and if seeing me, a person who has Samanya Adhikar, who does not have Bhakti Adhikar, he does not have qualification for Bhakti, but he has qualification for Karma. Seeing me, he should also not give up Karma. So therefore, even though I don't need to perform Karma according to my Adhikar, but still, for the only purpose of the other person should not be giving up activities according to his Adhikar, therefore I will execute the activities of karma. When the activities of Varnashrama are performed with absolute detachment, purely for Loka Sangraha purpose, then such an engagement of Varnashrama Dharma can be accepted as bhakti. Can be accepted as bhakti. When that karma is executed with the understanding that I don't need it. This is very interesting point. I don't need it, but I am doing it for others for Krishna's pleasure. When it is performed in that mode, that execution of Varnashrama can be considered as bhakti, secondary limb of bhakti. Okay. But when performing the activities of bhakti, the person, the sadhaka should engage them in the mood of, this is my life and soul. I need it. Without this, I cannot progress. With that mode, one should perform. But while engaging in activities of Varnashrama, the mode is, I don't need it for my spiritual progress. I am doing it to set the right example for some people. So now the point is that not everyone may have the need to execute Loka Sangraha karma. That one should understand. In many of the, for many cases, in many of their families, the family members may anyways not be engaging in any kind of Varnashrama duties. Okay. So, or maybe engaging in very minimal Varnashrama duties. So one may just do bare minimum so that they don't give up those, while through their own association allow them an opportunity to get more and more sukriti so that they come from karma adhikar to bhakti adhikar also. Okay, both should parallelly go on. So, thus, Priyavrat, the master of the earth, preoccupied with performance of karma. So, Priyavrat Maharaj's preoccupation with performance of karma is actually bhakti. Okay, is actually bhakti. So, Priyavrat, the master of the earth, preoccupied with performance of karma by the desire of the Lord. Ishvara Ichchaya. Okay, by the desire of the Lord. Another important, interesting thing mentioned. Parirandita Kashaya Ashayo. Burned up all the impurities in his heart. Anubhavena, by realization. Anavarata Dhyana, through constant meditation. Bhagavata Adipurushasya Angriyugala, on the lotus feet of the Lord. Akhila Jagadbandha Dvamsana Paranubhavasya. That Lord who displays clear power to destroy the bondage of the whole universe. So, Priyavrat Maharaj burned up the impurities in his heart by realization through constant meditation on the lotus feet of the Lord, which means he had already accomplished it. Not that after he became a householder, he did this. Even prior to becoming a householder, he was already a Mahabhagavat. He was already meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord from within his heart, and he had burnt up all the impurities within his heart even prior to this. Avadataha api, even though he was completely pure, Manavardhanaha, respect for him increased. Mahitalam anushashasa, by his ruling the earth, Mahatam, because he followed the order of Brahma. So, even though he was a perfected devotee, uh, even though he was a perfected devotee, but still, but still, because he accepted to rule this earth, accepting the order of Brahmaji, therefore, respect towards Priyavrat Maharaj increased even more. Hmm. It increased even more. So this verse answers the question posed in the first verse. How did Priyavrat enjoy household life? Itiha Vava means thus. He meditated on the lotus feet of the Lord who had clear power to destroy the bondage of the whole world. So he was in the household life, but his meditation was not about the household life. Its meditation was on Krishna. So that is why uh, the meaning of the word Grihamedi, of course, one meaning, the generic meaning of the word Grihamedi is householder. It does not have a negative connotation. But sometimes the word Grihamedi is used in a negative sense. So what is Grihamedi? Medi means there is something called as Medi Stamba. So Medi Stamba is a pole which is uh, put on the earth, and a rope is tied from that pole to the mm, cow or a bull is tied to that rope to that Medi Stamba, so that in a grazing land, so that the cow or bull, he has grazing grass, but he will not go anywhere. So he can keep on grazing uh, with the uh, uh, in the area centered around that pole, that circular area centered around that pole, whatever may be the radius of that rope. Okay. So it is called as Medi Stamba. Medi Stamba means that bull's existence revolves around with that Medi Stamba as the center. So Griha Medi means what? One who one whose life and thought process revolves around that household life. How I can maintain, how I can maintain, how I can maintain. So Griha Medi means one whose center of thought, center of meditation is Griha. On the other hand, Grihastha means one who is just residing at home, but he is not Grihamedi. His thought process is not constantly revolving around uh, the household responsibilities, but his consciousness is centered around Krishna. Okay. So that is grihastha. So that here the connotation grihastha means while residing, literally translated, it means staying in at home. Whereas the connotation is that merely staying at home, merely staying at home, but his consciousness is not centered around home. That is the meaning of grihastha. Whereas the grihamedi is not just merely staying at home, but his consciousness is also constantly centered around the home. So that is the meaning of grihamedi. So um uh, in the case of Priyavrat Maharaj, here Shukadeva Goswami is clarifying, he was a grihastha, he was staying at home, but actually um, uh, Bhagavata Adipurushasya Angriyugala Anavarata Dhyana Anubhavena. He was constantly meditating on the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord while staying at home. So just because he was at home does not mean he was attached to and meditating on the home household affairs all the time. Priyavrata had burned up all impurities in the heart, had past tense. Though he was most pure, he increased his respect by following the order of Brahma. Because this is what uh, the Supreme Lord wanted to accomplish through the example of Priyavrat Maharaj. He wanted to show that how important it is to follow the orders, how important it is to follow the orders of the superiors. So by following the orders of the superiors, he showed to the whole world that how yes, you have to conduct your life according to the guidelines of the superiors and following the orders of the superiors like that. Atacha duhitaram prajapater vishwakarmana upayeme barhishmatim nama tasyam uha vava atmajan atma samana शील गुण कर्म रूप वीर्य उदारान दशब दश भावयाम बभूव कन्याम च यवीयसीम ऊर्जस्वतीम नाम. Thereafter, Maharaj Priyavrat married Barhishmati, the daughter of the Prajapati named Vishwakarma. In her, he begot 10 sons with abundant conduct qualities, beauty, bravery, and magnanimity equal to his own, and a daughter, the youngest of all, named Urjaswati. So yeah, he married Barhishmati, and he begot 10 sons and one daughter. The one daughter was named Urjaswati. So he produced sons who were abundant in conduct and qualities. Agnidra Idmajihva Yajnabahu Mahavira Hiranyaretah Gritaprushta Savana Medatiti Vitihotra Kavaya iti Sarva Eva Agni Namnaha Namanaha. The 10 sons of Maharaj Priyavrat were named Agnidra, Idmajihva, Yajnabahu, Mahavira, Hiranyareta, Gritaprushta, Savana, Medatiti, Vitihotra, and Kavi. These are also the names of Agni, the fire god. Okay. Yetesham Kavir Mahaviraha Savana iti Traya Asan Urdhvaretasasta Atma Vidyayam Arba Bhavad Arabhya Krita Parichayaha Paramahamsyam Eva Ashramam Abhajan. Yetesham iti Traya. Amongst these 10, three of them, named Kavi, Mahavira, and Savana, lived in complete celibacy. Asan Urdhvaretasaha Asan. They remained in complete celibacy. Thus trained in brahmachari life, Arba Bhavad Arabhya, beginning from childhood, Atma Vidyayam Krita Parichayaha. They were very conversant with knowledge of Atma. Paramahamsyam eva ashramam abhajan, and they entered the Paramahamsa ashrama. Okay. So they remained brahmacharis. So these were not ordinary personalities, Priyavrat and all. Even though generally the um, Kshatriya's sons, if they are following proper samskaras, their children will also have the same mentality. But in the case of very exalted personalities like, you know, the Manus, Manuputras, etc., they may have sons who may have different mentality also. It is possible. Okay. So here the first three of them, they were Naishtika Brahmacharis. Okay. Tasmin uhava upashamashilaha paramaham paramarishayah sakalajiva nikaya avasasya avasasya bhagavato vasudevasya भीतनम शरणभूतस्य श्रीमच्चरणारविन्द अविरत स्मरण अविगलित परम भक्ति योगानुभावेन परिभावितांतर्हृदय अधिगते भगवती सर्वेषां सर्वेषां भूतानां आत्मभूते प्रत्यगात्मनि एव आत्मनस्तादात्म्यम् अविशेषेण समीयुः. In the Paramahansa ashrama which they had accepted, Atmanaha Avisheshena, being free from perception of difference caused by covering of body. So which means they were like perfected Jnana yogis. Upashama Shilaha Paramarishayaha, these sons with peaceful dispositions. Tadatnyam Samiyuhu, they realized oneness of the self with the Lord, who is perceived within the heart, purified by the power of Bhakti Yoga. Oh, so they were not Jnana yogis, they were Bhakti yogis. Okay. Abhigalita Parama Bhakti Yoga Anubhavena. Vasudevasya Srimad Charanaravinda Avirata Smarana, fixed in constant remembrance of the lotus feet of Vasudev. Sakala Jiva Nikaya Avasasya, which is considered to be the abode of all the jivas. Bhitanam Sharana Bhutasya, and the shelter of those afflicted with fear. Sarvesham Bhutanam Atma Bhute Pratyagatmani, and who is the soul of all living beings. So, how did they attain? Why did not get married? Because uh, they were completely fixed in meditating on the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So they did not get married. So they were practicing Bhakti Yoga, that is very clearly mentioned. In the Paramahamsa ashrama, being free from perception of difference caused by covering the body, the sons realized oneness of the self with the Lord, who is perceived within the heart, purified by the power of Bhakti Yoga, which is fixed in remembrance of the Lord's lotus feet. अन्यस्यामपि जायायां त्रयः पुत्रा आसन् उत्तमस्तामसो रैवत इति मन्वन्तराधिपतयः. In his other wife, Maharaj Priyavrata begot three sons, Uttama, Tamasa, and Raivata. All of them later took charge of the Manvantaras. So the Uttama, Tamasa, and Raivata are the third, fourth, and fifth Manus. Okay. They became the Manus of the third, fourth, and the fifth Manvantaras. Like that. Okay. Any quick discussion points, comments, questions, anything anyone would like to share, ask, and we can take it right now. There is something in the chat box. Let's take them first. Okay. What is the difference between a karmi and a bhakta in Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita language? Is the Ishtadeva who defines them? Is there any mention of Priyavrat being Vishnu or Krishna Bhakta? Okay, next question. Kashaya and all these terminologies are used on the path of Jnana and Yoga as well. How do we understand that Priyavrat or such devotees are bhaktas only and not the followers of other paths? Is it dependent on reasonable interpretation only? Okay. Uh, okay. Shyam Sundaranand Prabhu. better you take one question at a time, and you please verbally only ask this question so that, you know, what you have in your mind and what you have written, maybe I should properly understand it. Uh, okay, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Raj.
Yeah.
Just like so in the just in the 27th sloka,
Hmm.
there was a clear mention that the sons of Priyavrat Maharaj were practicing bhakti yoga,
Yeah.
and they have their hearts or meditation on Vasudeva only, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, this is not just specific to Priyavrat Maharaj only. I just asked.
Hmm.
Generally, when we are reading the text itself,
Hmm.
so we may not always find it that they are. It is talking about Bhakti Yoga, or they are talking about. I mean, when we say a devotee,
Hmm.
is it the interpretation of the acharyas based upon some reason that it is they are bhaktas, or is it like they are like in this case, in the son's case, it is explicitly mentioned they are the Vasudeva bhaktas and they are practicing bhakti yoga or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, Krishna Tulya Bhagavata Vibhu Sarvashray.
Mm.
Prati shloke prati akshare nana artakai. Okay. So one should understand that uh, one Bhagavatam verse need not just have one meaning. It can have multiple meanings. Both and all the multiple meanings can be valid meanings. Multiple valid meanings. Uh, that's why we know the example of the Atma Rama verse example where 61 different explanations were given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and 18 different meanings were given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and then 61 further meanings to Sri Sanatan Goswami and all that. So we see that, and these are not interpretations. Uh, Interpretations in the way that we understand. These are revelations. Uh, these are bona fide meanings which are revealed to particular acharyas, and these meanings are particular meanings are revealed which nourish the faith of particular of the practitioners of particular sampradaya. Okay, so
Mm.
the same verse can have multiple meanings. So that meaning which nourishes the faith of the practitioners of particular sampradaya, that is revealed to particular acharyas, and they explain that verse in particular way,
Mm.
like that.
Okay. So basically, depending upon the acharya's revelation, that meaning is sought. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And what about those terminologies regarding the kashaya? I mean, this all these things. Of course, these are all both are connected only. So
Hmm.
when we talk about the of course, when we say that Priyavrata is practicing bhakti, so when
Hmm.
we then we can talk those kashaya as anarthas or something like that. But if
Hmm.
we are if the interpretation, I mean, sorry, so if the revelation is the other way, then we have to say that okay, that is a jnana yoga, and then we can talk it as a kashaya or something like that. Like or both are same. How do we understand?
I mean, the way the acharyas explain, that is the way we understand. But here, at least in
Hmm.
Prevrat Maharaj's case, it is quite clear that he was a very perfected devotee.
Correct. Yes. Yeah.
Uh, so the
No, he
text
does not
itself
have
reveals that,
kashaya.
yeah. So
Yeah.
Kashaya means impurity. I mean,
Yeah.
that
Hmm.
is not a terminology which is
Hmm.
very exclusive to the path of Jnana or Yoga.
Okay.
Uh,
Hmm.
in the Bhakti terminology also, the word Kashaya uh, is Bhagavatam itself. So many places it keeps repeating the word Kashaya in the
Correct.
context of
Yes.
devotees. So terminologies may, because of the prominence of usage by the later people, particular terminologies may take particular connotation, but originally that particular word may have a similar or a different connotation in the bhakti line also,
Hmm. Okay.
like that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Is there, okay, there are other questions also that you have asked. You said,
No, I
is the
think this is the two only.
Ishtadeva, you have asked something then?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, connected, no? So how do we say whether Priyavrata is a bhakta? So is it like the Ishtadeva, we say in our understanding, bhakta means one who is a Vishnu or a Krishna devotee. Any Vishnu Tattva devotee, we consider him as a bhakta.
Devotee.
That
Yeah.
is a bhakti. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so here, as I said in the example of the sons of Priyavrata, they say Vasudeve Bhagavati. That is clearly mentioned. Vasudeva
Mm.
Bhakti, and the path is also mentioned as Bhakti Yoga. So
Mm.
in the Priyavrata context, is it mentioned that he is a Vasudeva? His mind is in Vasudeva. Of course, because he is a disciple of Narada Muni, so we can understand that indirectly. But is it a direct mention that he is
You mean
uh, uh,
I mean, which form of the Supreme Lord, or whether he was a worshipper of
whether he
Supreme
was a
Lord or
worshipper of
demigods like
Vishnu
that?
only? Correct. Whether he was a worshipper of Supreme Lord or demigods, because if he is worshipping
The
the
in Bhagavatam's language, the word
hmm,
Bhagavata
hmm,
or a Bhakta
hmm,
by default refers to worshipper of Vishnu only.
okay.
Because
Hmm,
demigod worshippers are not
hmm,
generally called as bhaktas. They
hmm,
are called as upasakas, you know.
okay. Okay.
So, so the worshippers of generally the
Hmm,
word bhakti uh, is generally refers to worshippers of Vishnu Tattvas only. And
oh,
the word Bhagavatas generally refers to worshippers of Bhagavan only, that is Krishna.
okay. Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
is
So
there
means
any mention of Priyavrat being Vishnu or Krishna Bhakta?
correct. Yeah. So because that
Uh,
itself, because if we say Vishnu Bhakta, then everything will fall under the path of bhakti. Then if
everything
he,
means?
no, means whatever his activities are, if once
Uh-huh.
he said that he is a devotee, then his
Hmm.
ladder itself is different.
Yeah,
Then if he is if that is not mentioned, then he will we may read it as the in the regular process like the karma yogi or jnana yogi or ashtanga yogi. We may read those verses in those
they
in
are
that
generally
understanding.
not called as Bhagavatas.
Okay. Mm.
Yeah, Bhagavatas means those are practicing Shuddha Bhakti, at least in Bhagavatam's language. Of course, there are other Puranas in which mixed devotees are also called as Bhagavatas merely for worshipping Vishnu.
Mm.
So, but they may have mixed devotional desires also. But demigod worshippers are never called as Bhagavatas. Worshippers of Vishnu, but having mixed devotional desires or qualification may also sometimes be called as Bhagavatas by other Puranas. This is mentioned in Bhakti Sandarbha. But according to Bhagavatam, when the word Bhagavata is used, it refers to pure practitioners of
Oh,
pure devotional service only.
yeah. Okay. Oh, thank you.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Okay. Anything else? Okay. Yes. Radhika Rati Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी दंडवत
Dandat Pranam. Mataji, I think your internet is poor, I
Prabhuji,
think. Your signal.
like there are three categories of people that who can you hear me, Prabhuji?
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah,
Me,
but your
Prabhuji.
internet is poor, Mataji. You can speak. We will hear it little late, but you can speak. Mataji, we are not at all hearing you. I think your internet is poor. Either you can type your questions.
Okay.
Yeah, you can please type your
Okay.
questions, Mataji.
Yes.
Okay. Or are others able to hear the questions, or is it my internet problem, or is it Mataji's internet problem? Can someone clarify? Were others able to properly hear her voice? Okay, not able to hear. Okay, it was her internet only. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Okay. There is something else in the chat box. In Bhakti Sandarbha, we heard about three types of devotees. Okay, these are three types of perfected devotees. Uh, uh, Murchita Kashaya, then there is Prema, and then there is Mahaprema. Uh, Murchita Kashaya, and then there is uh, one more, some Kashaya, purified of all Kashaya. And then there is uh, Nirduta Kashaya. And then there is Nirduta Kashaya Mahaprema. Murchita Kashaya, Nirduta Kashaya, and then there is Nirduta Kashaya Mahaprema. These are the three categories. Murchita Kashaya they are the stage of Bhava where there are some impurities. Nirduta Kashaya are Prema Bhaktas, but within this material world. Okay. And then those who have become qualified to attain the higher levels of Prema, for which one needs the body of an associate of the Supreme Lord, they are called as Nirduta Kashaya Mahaprema. Like that. Okay. So, because there are no further questions and we still have about 12 minutes time, I will cover few more verses. Evam. Okay, there is one more hand up. So please raise your hands before we start while the question and answers are going on only. Yes, go ahead, Mataji. Shakti Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Sorry, Prabhuji. On the day I raised no, I thought you will call. Hare Krishna.
No. That is by default. If previous days questions are not answered, you can always raise your hands.
Okay, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, in Bhishma Deva's case, if you see, he takes on his own or somebody guiding him because he takes the vow, right, that I will not get married, I will remain brahmachari.
Mm.
Because he is a Mahajana, he takes on his own, or else somebody guides him in his case.
Well, I mean, it depends on how you wish to see Bhishma Dev. Now, you see Bhishma Dev as a Mahajan, then he can take his own uh, decision. That is allowed if you see Bhishma Dev as a Mahajan. Now, if you see Bhishma Dev from the perspective of Mahabharat, there Bhishma Dev is not seen as a Mahajan. There, according to Mahabharat, Bhishma Dev was he was a great person. He was a very powerful personality. He was generally dharmic, but he sided with the Kauravas because he had accepted their food and this thing. That kind of explanation is there. So there, if you see through Mahabharat, then you don't necessarily have to see Bhishma Dev as a Mahajan. Then you don't have to evaluate his activities as you would evaluate a Mahajan. So if you want to understand Bhishma Dev's activities through the eyes of Srimad Bhagavatam, then the only explanation that we give is, oh, he is a Mahajan. He was acting this way because he understood that the Lord wanted to accomplish something. The Lord wanted to teach the whole world something through him. Therefore, he acted that way. He took whether his taking that vow of brahmacharya was glorified or criticized, whatever it is, he was doing it neither for glorification nor for criticism. He was doing it because he understood that this was Krishna's plan through him. So he was doing it. That's all.
Okay. No, you brought up one point, no, Prabhuji, two Mahajanas different giving different instruction and everything. Even though you also covered one point, though Uttanapat lineage was there, because Priyavarta Maharaj is eldest, so they brought him here. Like that in Mahabharata, if you see, when no one is there, only Bhishma Dev is there. So someone should convince him to take up that throne, right? That was not happened. For that, I'm asking.
In the case of that, there must be some explanations. These are Kshatriya Dharma. Okay. So Kshatriya Dharma, there are many, many intricacies. The very basic Kshatriya Dharma only we have discussed. Okay. So now within this Varnashrama, when it comes to Kshatriya Dharma, there might be many, 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 many nitty-gritty details. So we don't know all these things. These will be there in the Dharma Shastras. So why did he accept the throne? Why did he not accept the throne? So, and all those things, you are talking about in the case of Bhishma Dev, why did he not accept the throne? Why did he allow his father only to rule like that? Is that
No,
the,
no, 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 no. When the Satyavatis, both the son were died. No, at the time I'm asking.
yeah, those are some, they must have some Dharma Shastric principles which are there according to Kshatriya Dharma. So, accordingly, they were followed. So those details are they must have some Dharma Shastric foundation.
Okay.
So that which I don't know, I'm not completely aware, and we don't completely need to know also. So for basic things, for understanding certain social considerations which are brought within Bhagavatam, for that, if the acharyas mention some basic considerations, we understand. But but once you get into Mahabharata, which is a complete Dharmashastric literature, then it will go into various details about various nitty-gritty nuances of Brahmana Dharma, Kshatriya Dharma, Vaishya Dharma, Shudra Dharma, and all those things, either through pastimes or through instructions like Vidura Niti and things like that. Those details uh, will be discussed in great detail. So, uh, yeah, I don't know those details. There must be some reason, according to the Kshatriya Dharma, where under what circumstances who can rule, under what circumstances who cannot rule, what happens under what circumstances, a person who has taken such a vow, uh, under whose instruction can he break that vow, under whose instruction he cannot break that vow, and all those things are there. Those are various Dharma Shastric considerations. Uh, we don't know.
So if it is a Dharma Shastra's perspective, it is very detailed. So in Bhagavatam perspective, if we say like because everything Bhagavad Gita has to reveal, Bhagavatam has to reveal, so Bhishma Dev as a Mahajana acted in such a way that should be our
Yeah, when we
understanding.
say why did uh, if let's say if you have to evaluate Mahabharat's perspective of Bhishma Dev, character evaluation. Sometimes we do understanding the character of Bhishma Dev or understanding the character of someone. The only character evaluation that we do, why did Bhishma Dev side with the Kauravas? We say, Bhagavatam says, Ishvara Icha. He was just executing the plan of the Supreme Lord. That's all. Whereas Mahabharat will criticize Bhishma Dev for that. Hmm. He was like a flawed warrior, you know. He flawed because he sided with Adharma and therefore he had to die on the battlefield. Like that, Mahabharat will describe Bhishma Dev. Bhagavatam will say, perfect Mahabhagavat. Even while fighting with Krishna, he was engaging in Virya Rasa. Uh, and while siding with Duryodhana, he did it not because he was flawed, but because he was acting like that under the uh, influence of Yoga Maya. And under the influence of Yoga Maya, you will see people acting exactly like those people who are acting under Mahamaya. But they are exalted devotees. But under Yoga Maya, when they act like that, using them, Krishna can teach some valuable lessons to common people. So which he does through literatures like Mahabharata. So in Mahabharata, the chief protagonists, like the Pandavas and personalities like uh, Bhishma Dev and all that, they all are under Yoga Maya, acting like people under Mahamaya.
Okay.
So some are in mode of goodness, very dharmic. Some are in mode of passion and mixed mode of passion and ignorance, passion and goodness like that. And they act like that. Whatever is the assigned role. Okay. Like if you go on a stage play, someone has to take the role of a hero, someone has to take the role of a villain, and someone has to take the role of a common man. So, like that, these great devotees, some of them take the role of heroes, some of them take the role of some flawed heroes like Bhishma Dev. But we understand, oh, why did he do it? I mean, why did he do like this? Why did he do like this? Why did he take this vow? I mean, from Bhagavatam's perspective, if you have to answer, uh, oh, that was the role assigned by the director of the play. The director asked him to play like this, so he played like that. That is Bhagavatam's explanation. Whereas in Mahabharata, you will go into detail. Why did he do it? Oh, what was the psychology behind it? What was all this behind it? So you try to, explore the character in great detail. In Bhagavatam, he says, whatever it may be, why did he do it? The director asked him to do it, he did it. That's all. That level discussion only. In Bhagavatam, they will not get into the details of why did he take that vow. Okay. So then you go into the details of, oh, his father was attracted. And if father gets attracted like that, then what should the son do? What should the son do? And all those details, Mahabharata will discuss. Now, Bhagavatam has no time for discussing all those things. Okay.
So,
Bhagavatam says, oh, why did he take that vow? Bhagavatam says, Ishvara Icha. That's it.
so then Bhagavatam perspective, Dhritarashtra also Ishvara Icha only.
No, 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 no. This is talking about not everyone who is engaged, like Duryodhana, Dhritarashtra and all, they are not perfected devotees. But the Pandavas, Bhishma, not everyone in that play.
So then I can understand if the Dharma Shastra views, so Bhishma Dev and everything acting differently. In Bhagavatam perspective, Dhritarashtra acting differently. So I don't know how to say, Prabhuji. Like Bhagavatam perspective, so they will come. Dhritarashtra seems to be different. If it, in the materialistic perspective, so Bhishma Dev or look different.
I am not able to understand your question, Mataji.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Can you please think about it and rephrase the question tomorrow better?
Okay, Prabhuji. Okay, Prabhuji.
Yeah. One last question we will take and then we will end here. There are some related questions. Okay. He already taken that vow, right? Okay, I don't know. Yes, Mahabharata characterization of Parikshit passing and Dhritarashtra quitting home is also quite different. Yeah, because the purpose of the Grantha, the audience for which the Grantha was written is different. So therefore their character portrayals are completely different. Their character portrayals will be different. Dhritarashtra, from beginning to end, he has to be portrayed like that. Similarly, Parikshit Maharaj is not portrayed as a devotee. Okay. Is the theme of the Grantha deciding the characterization? Yes, we have discussed this many times, but we will take this point tomorrow just to touch, because time and again we have to touch this. Okay, this is important. So I request both Shakti Mataji and Sham Sundar Prabhu to bring this point tomorrow. We will discuss this in little more detail tomorrow. Okay, we'll pause here. Thank you all very much for your patient listening and your enthusiastic participation. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Vishwanath